talk a little bit about sentencing reforms, criminal sentencing reforms, and I'm thinking mainly of, for instance, some of the drug sentences. Yeah. Is that something that needs to be taken a look at by the legislature? Are we out of line on those?
It has been. We've taken a look at it, actually, and there's still some issues that talking about issues that we address next year. One of them when I talked about public safety earlier, one of the issues that we'll address is funding for local governments with respect to rehabilitation of minor offenders. Because we passed House Enrolled Act 1006, which is a criminal code reform, and the underlying philosophy of the new criminal code is essentially that, look, bad people, bad actors, bad criminals, the worst of the worst and violent offenders, people who should be locked up need to be locked up, and we need to make sure that we punish them adequately and that they are sent to prison. And so actually we saw with criminal code reform increases in a lot of the penalties that you would associate with violent and violent offenders, the worst of the worst type. The other part of it, the equation, is that same attitude with respect to making sure we lock away people who need to be locked away doesn't apply necessarily to, say, minor drug offenders, and that it would be more beneficial to society if we focus on treatment, mental health, rehabilitation, and we do not incarcerate them for a few years. Think about someone who commits a minor drug felony, and we send them away, let's say, for 2-3 years in prison. Think about what we've done to family that they may have. If they have children, they're not there to provide for those children. You're putting them into an environment with some of the worst that I talked about earlier sometimes, and the likelihood that they come out and that they are truly rehabilitated is not great. In fact, you may have actually damaged the likelihood that they're going to be able to contribute to society. So, and many of these crimes happen because of addiction problems, and so if we can treat those issues and recognize that those folks are different than the really bad guys, we can make progress, I think, on crime in general, rates of crime and recidivism. So that's really the underlying philosophy of House Enrolled Act 1006. And one of the items that was in there, it essentially kept some offenders local, which of course would create a burden on local governments. Or counties run our jails, right? And so we're going to come in and find out how we can deal with that. But I think we have rightfully taken some action in that capacity, and are continuing to look at how we can improve it. I think we all want to be tough on crime, and as important as it is to be tough on crime, we also have to be smart on crime, and that's really where that comes down.